sehr cool, dass ihr alle gekommen seid. Vielen Dank.
That you
zahlreich.
got here in such large numbers. And my name is Gabriela Steinhauser. And today my probation period is over, the 6 months. I've been with MHP for 6 months now. I started as an associated partner in January, and since April, May, I am in charge of incubation and portfolio management of our digital services. Can you all hear me? Yes. And today, I would like to tell you something about personal innovation, but also my personal history. I guess that shows where I come from, what progress actually means, and how it had an impact on me. In the background, you can see the High Tatra in Slovakia. It's the place of birth. And in the 80s, during the socialist regime, my parents and me, we had a wonderful life. It was relaxed. My dad was a national basketball player, but they didn't. They were looking for freedom more than security, and that's why in 1986 they went over closed borders, which you can no longer imagine today, and took their two kids over the border. Took one bag for family of 4 and went over the border in the belief and with a few ideas in their backpack for a new future. And in the socialist regime, and for my parents, education was extremely important. So I did my PhD after my studies, and I worked with Mercedes-Benz. That was my first employer. I worked in customer research. I also did my PhD in consumer research for strategic marketing. I was an executive in business development and innovation management. And after a few years in innovation management, I went to the group strategy and was heading the digital transformation and also the change communication. After that, I was in customer user experience of Smart and was taking part in the development of 7 digital products. And after my little daughter was born, I worked for Mercedes Me Connect sales. And after 15 years of Daimler, the golden cage, I thought, now it's enough. And then I jumped out of the cage. And why did I do that? Because I was able to collaborate with extremely talented people, entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. And during that period, just when I came to Germany as a 5-year-old, a completely fascinating world opened up to me. I was able to work with the entrepreneurs and the entrepreneurs who had a completely different mindset. They were from India, the US, all over the world, and had a completely different work style. And that really fascinated me back then, both as far as the business is concerned and the technological perspective. So they worked on completely new topics. And in the end, I was able to support many customer ideas from scratch. Why am I telling you this? But then after that, I left Daimler, and 15 years later, I was the director for new business innovation and to a spin-off company, the 1886 Ventures. And as a director for new business innovation and venture development, I developed new customer models for the company, and our corporate startups that we developed in our cockpit were then made market ready and also investor ready. And why am I telling you this? Well, innovation, change, and progress are my companions, or have been my companions since a very young age. I believe in progress, and my parents also inspired me. They also went forward and always tried. Sometimes they failed, of course, especially as foreigners in Germany back then, but still they built up a lot and always tried things and said that things will go on. And it's still that way today. And that's something I just wanted to give you, or pass on to you as a story today. Because my contribution today is a similar topic. It's about how each and every one of us can improve the world for a better tomorrow. We heard it before from Ralph, by being personally innovative during a quickly changing world. How can we quickly adapt to this world in order to enable ourselves and to improve the world we want to have? The dream of today, that was in the 50s. That was online shopping back then. And today's dream is the reality of tomorrow. So what is imaginable today will be feasible tomorrow. And what we see today here, the chair is sitting on the festival you're seeing, or that there's no longer the Mercedes arena but an MHP arena, that used to be a vision, an idea, and then someone tested it and designed it and basically brought it out into the world as an experiment. And these innovative methods that we know from business, for example, they can also be applied for astonishing products, services, and to develop them. And they can also be used in order to redefine our own role in the society and to advance our career. And we also saw it when we listened to the sustainability talk, to have a greater impact in the world for a better tomorrow. The world is changing, and we must also change. So the world is changing, and we need to do that too. That's what Barack Obama said in 2009 during his inauguration speech. Why? Because we're having an impact. A lot is happening. There's more fear of speed. Technological innovations are happening quicker and quicker. You can imagine it like a heartbeat. It used to be very slow in the past, and now it's getting quicker and quicker. So the innovation cycles are accelerated all the time. Disruptions in the market are becoming a permanent state of affairs in Germany, and the industrial side of Germany is getting more and more pressure. Those of you who read the Handelsblatt the last 3 days or just looked into the newspaper could follow this discussion, and we are all exposed to that. The S&P 500 in 1964, the index, the company stayed in this index for 33 years, and today the trend is until 2027, it's 12 years. So this means that every 12 years, we have completely new companies listed in this S&P index. It used to be 33 years. Now, the big players were in the S&P index for 33 years. Now it's going to be 12 years. We had the refugee crisis, the pandemic, the energy policy, inflation, and climate change. And of course, the fatigue of news is also increasing, because our brain at some point in time will be overwhelmed with what's happening outside. And so we ask ourselves, how do I still have enough space to be innovative and tap into my unlimited potential that I actually have? But there are also good news. Oftentimes we emphasize bad things, but a few figures show that especially during crisis or times of need, they were really creative and created solutions to problems. We saw this quite nicely during the COVID pandemic, when new things emerged of which we were only able to dream before. The infant mortality, for example, went down. 150 years ago, it was 33% in the US, and today it's only 0.5%. So all indicators of the quality of life have improved over the past 50 years, and there has been significant economic growth almost everywhere, a higher life expectancy, better education, and better health. So technology gave us enough time for living and for creating new opportunities. So they have given us more time and new opportunities. And we should actually be really happy about this and look forward to the future. Shouldn't we? People keep nodding their heads, that's nice. But nevertheless, every aspect of our life, from the technology to the social standards, is changing. It's undergoing constant development at a speed which is unprecedented. So everything is accelerating. And this can cause us to be fearful. It can destroy our bubble. but it can also shake our comfort zone. And the comfort zone is here, but the magic is happening elsewhere. And I brought you this image because 2 or 3 years ago, I had an external crisis, and I went through all phases here, and this image helped me a lot back then because I basically knew where I was at the moment. I could really recalibrate myself and also saw the positive outcome. So you need to have a growth mindset instead of a fixed mindset. You need to be willing to be motivated, and you need to be open towards opportunities and learning opportunities. And you should also have a willingness to change. This requires courage, curiosity, and resilience. At the same time, there are no fixed rules and no specific age when changes occur. It can basically happen, as I said, you can react to something because there's an external crisis, maybe a critical life event in psychology, or it could be a desire, an active topic where I want to achieve personal change and innovate things. I have a vision, I have a dream and a wish. I just want to do this. And people can be in different situations of their life at different times of their life, and they can change. There's no restrictions to that. Question marks on your faces, but how? Let's start quite simply. Let's take a look at our kids. What lessons can we learn from them? So from kids always learn new skills from the time they are born, new capabilities, new words. When I was 5, I learned the second language, German, and we teach them a lot as parents, and kids see the world differently. They experiment, they just jump in the mud and see what's happening. So they're kind of outgrowing themselves, they're testing their own boundaries, and they don't see any limits until we tell them don't jump off the wall, it's too high. And they're curious and ask many questions, as my daughter is doing every day. They're very creative, they're painting, they're crafting, they're taking Lego stones and destroying everything afterwards. They're crying, they're laughing. And they're just happy that they have these opportunities and can find everything out from scratch. And I find this very nice. Kids can do things that we as adults no longer know how to do, and we should basically reactivate these possibilities and these skills. I'll make it a bit more complicated. That was the simple version. Now I'm going to come to a more complicated version. This is a lean startup. I could have brought the design thinking model because Stanford and St. Gallen are still studying it for the personal innovation, the design thinking model for personal innovation. In this case, it's lean startup. I just want to test whether you understand it. Basically, lean startup means that it's based on continuous learning and iterative development. It's a method for the development and scaling of innovations, products, and services. And most of the time, startups use it, and it's supposed to reduce uncertainties and risks. So you basically go through it in different steps. First of all, you understand the problem. What is the problem? You just take a look at the problem and think about how to get a minimum viable product, MVP. Most of you might know this. I need a minimum viable product with a few functions and features. I test those, get feedback from the customer, test my hypothesis, have critical assumptions regarding the market, the customer, and the product. And then I do question surveys, A/B testing, or I conduct interviews. Quite simple. After that, I do validations and learn from that. And then basically in the measure, learn approach. So it's a constant loop. And in the end, eventually I have to pivot again. It didn't work. And the lean startup, it says, well, my customer shot me, and I'm out because no one wanted it. The benefit of this is that you quickly build up a product without needing any long-term or long-year product cycles. In the automotive industry, you develop a vehicle over years and produce it, and here it's a quick approach for those who don't know it yet. And the benefit of all of this is, and why I'm showing this, is that you can't just use it for services and products or for a specific industry, but you can use it everywhere where it's about customer-centric approaches, about continuous improvement and innovation. You need to adapt to that. That's why I'm just going to summarize. Everything we see in our lives was developed by someone. Someone had a problem or an idea they were pleased about, and they wanted to realize this idea. And every design starts with this, and then a team of designers bring about a solution for this problem. And this design mindset that I just showed you most of the time led to technologies or products that we are using today and that we find fascinating. And I already said innovation can happen at the personal level, at the corporate level, or at the organizational level. Of course, also within a family, and can actively be initiated. You have a wish or desire or a dream, you want to do something. It can happen you're using fitness trackers, we're doing a lot of sports, we're moving around a lot. We're attending seminars, attending this talk. That's active. You want something. You want to do something actively. And that's how you achieve personal innovation. Maybe you inspire today, have an idea tomorrow and implement it. Or it can also be a reaction. Either you're fired or you have a new boss with whom it's difficult to collaborate. You've always wanted to start freelancing and you're just doing it at some point in time because the situation is just so uncomfortable that you're in. You're migrating because you were fired and the local job market is no longer as good. And these external triggerers might be negative at the beginning, but retrospectively, they can cause the wish or the dream to come true that you have thought about at one point in time. So you identify a problem or an idea that causes a flow in you that you enjoy. Then you start with this idea. You're doing your experiment. You question how you can do that. You're making critical assumptions. What is this? What I'm personally developing for me? It can also be something really small, a new project, or maybe you no longer want to smoke. You want to quit smoking, or want to do more sports. Or it can be groundbreaking things, new products. And you can hand in your ideas at our stand over there. And then you're testing this, get quick feedback, talk about your visions, talk about your ideas. Sometimes you might get negative feedback, and we are all a bit shy and don't want any negative feedback, but just do that. Go out and talk about it. And then you've reached this loop that you say ideas, you're quickly going to build up something, you're collecting data, you get feedback, and then you can incorporate this feedback into your idea again. And I don't want you to develop any app or whatever, but everything that you have, personal ideas about your life. So the loop that you can see on this slide can help you to achieve private, personal, or corporate progress, to be more productive, to be happier in your job because you're more active. You no longer respond to things or react to things. And you can lead a happy life and create the world that you want to live in. I have to speed up a little bit. I have 9 seconds left. So before we come to the grab and go, you can grab a coffee, a few key takeaways. Ask yourselves, what do I want to achieve in this world? What do I want to leave in this world? And what kind of world do I want to create myself and leave it to my children? Move away from the survivor mode to the creator mode and create, and in the business sector, in your private lives, wherever you want to achieve a change. No one's going to do this for you. You have the power. You have to become active. If you don't believe in it, no one else is going to believe in it. And test and experiment all the time in smaller and bigger conditions and talk about it. And start before you're ready. You know this from the startup environment, but it's extremely important. Just do it. And I also told you the story of my parents who left their country with 2 kids and a bag full of ideas and hopes. They believed in freedom, and they also believed in unlimited conditions despite closed barriers and frontiers. So look at your limits and overcome them as of today. A thinker sees his or her own actions as experiments and questions, as attempts to find out something. And if you have feedback, feel free to address me or email me. And I would like to wish you a lot of fun for the remainder of the day.